The rise of the African lion, Dricus du Plessis' journey to UFC middleweight champion. Explosive UFC debut 2020. On October 10, 2020, Dricus du Plessis stepped into the UFC octagon for the first time. He made an instant impact, knocking out Marcus Perez in the first round. With his aggressive striking, relentless pace, and unshakable confidence, fans took notice of the South African newcomer. Climbing the ranks under the radar to 2021 to 2022, du Plessis followed up with another KO win against Trevin Giles at UFC 264. Still seen as a prospect, not a threat to the top contenders, he kept pushing. In 2022, he defeated veteran Brad Tavares via unanimous decision, showcasing superior cardio and volume striking. Though still flying under the radar, those who paid attention began to recognize his potential. Statement wins over Till and Brunson, 2022-2023. The turning point came when he fought Darren Till at UFC 282. In a dominant performance that included 6 takedowns and a neck crank submission, du Plessis overpowered the former title challenger and raised eyebrows. He followed that with a brutal TKO victory over Derek Brunson at UFC 285. His relentless style combined with fight IQ and raw power was becoming hard to ignore. Du Plessis was no longer just a prospect, he was a problem. Shock of the year KO over Robert Whittaker, 2023. UFC 290 delivered a seismic shock. Facing former champion Robert Whittaker, du Plessis dismantled the Aussie fan favorite, knocking him out in the second round. This was a statement win. Whittaker had only lost to Israel Adesanya before. After the fight, the post-fight drama exploded. Adesanya entered the octagon and confronted du Plessis in an emotionally charged, racially sensitive tirade that drew backlash. The feud was now deeply personal, fueled by nationalist and racial undertones. It was no longer just about fighting. Controversial title win over Strickland, UFC 297. When Adesanya pulled out due to injury, Sean Strickland stepped up to defend his title. UFC 297 saw du Plessis win a split decision in a back-and-forth war. However, the victory sparked major controversy. Strickland landed more significant strikes, but du Plessis pressed the pace, landed takedowns, and dictated the tempo. Debate erupted online. Did the judges get it right? Was du Plessis a real champion? Strickland was furious. Du Plessis was unfazed. Silence the doubt. Strickland rematch, UFC 312. To shut down the criticism, a rematch was booked at UFC 312. This time, du Plessis left no doubt. He outworked Strickland with 147 significant strikes and earned a clear-cut, unanimous decision. At the press conference, Strickland lashed out at the UFC, while du Plessis calmly declared himself Africa's true champion, a not-so-subtle jab at Adesanya. The rivalry continued to simmer. Legacy fight, submitting Adesanya, UFC 305, in what became the defining fight of his career, du Plessis finally met Israel Adesanya at UFC 305. Despite being slightly behind in the striking stats, 90 to 97, du Plessis implemented a smart game plan, grappling, pressure, and cardio. In round 4, he stunned the world by taking Adesanya's back and choking him out with a rear naked choke. The fight was more than a title bout, it was a symbolic clash of cultures, pride, and history. And in the end, it was the South African who stood tall. Champion of a new era, with a perfect 10-0 UFC record, Dricus du Plessis has beaten 3 former champions, Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, and Sean Strickland, twice. He is one of the most complete, durable, and unorthodox fighters in the middleweight division. He didn't just earn the belt, he conquered legacies to wear it.